Hi everyone, I'm Sachini. Today I'm gonna explain you how we can use the speech synthesis interface to convert any text into voice. Before going into detail, I'll answer the three main questions you may have now regarding speech synthesis. What is speech synthesis? It is an interface of the Web Speech API. If you don't know about the Web Speech API, it is an API which helps you to incorporate voice data into web apps. It has two main parts, speech synthesis and speech recognition. Here we are only talking about the speech synthesis. What is it used for? Simply to convert the text into speech. The speech synthesis interface is supported by various types of voices with different languages and accents. You can use any of those voices according to your taste. In addition, you can change the pitch and the speed of the speech as well. Where is it used? Some common use cases of the speech synthesis interface are educational applications, financial applications, interactive web applications, and games. Now let's see why you should use the speech synthesis interface in your application. Obviously, to give your users a better experience. There are some people who refer and feel more comfortable of listening but not reading, especially if your application has large content such as long reports, stories, and papers. The users will be so grateful if they can listen to them instead of reading. There is another advantage of using speech synthesis as it has the intrinsic support in JavaScript. You don't need to import several other third-party libraries to convert your text into voice. You can just use speech synthesis which has intrinsic support in JavaScript. Now let's see what are the interfaces you can use with the speech synthesis interface. Window.speech synthesis provides access to the domain controller interface, the speech synthesis. Now you may be wondering, when there is a separate speech synthesis interface, why do we need to call it using this window object? Sometimes, for some browsers and for some operating systems, calling the speech synthesis interface directly from your code will not help. In such cases, you will have to call it from the window object using this property. The second one is the speech synthesis utterance. It represents a speech request. When we create a speech synthesis utterance object in our application, it will contain all the details of our speech, such as the text, the utterance it should be read, and its speeches, the pitch, rate, and the voice. These are the methods of the speech synthesis interface. The getVoices method is used to load all the available voices in the current device. Why I said the current device? Because the availability of the voices can differ according to your browser and the operating system. The speak method is used to start the speech. When the speak method is called, this utterance passed through this method is put into the utterance queue and the speech synthesis starts speaking it. The pause method is used to pause the speech. When it is called, this speech synthesis object is put into the paused status. The resume method is used to resume the speech. When it is called, this object is put into the non-paused status. The cancel method is used to stop the speech. When it is called, all the utterances in the utterance queue is cleared. There is only one event in the speech synthesis interface. It is the voices changed event. It is fired when the voice object returned by this getVoices method is changed. Whenever this voice object is changed, this event is fired. Let's go ahead and see how these interfaces, methods, and events can be used in a JavaScript application. I have created a simple interface here. We have a drop down here to put all the voices available in my device. And here we have a spinner for the rate, and we have a spinner for the pitch here, and there is a text area to input or text for the speech, and we have 3 buttons to start, pause or resume, or to stop the speech. The HTML code for that interface is here. This part is to create that drop down which will contain all the voices in my device. And we have the spinner for the rate. Here I have set 10 as the maximum and 0.1 as the minimum for the rate, and the step is 0.1. Here we have the spinner for the pitch. The max is 2, min is 0, and its step is 0.1. Here is the text area, and here are the 3 buttons. If I go down, I have created the references for all the above DOM elements here. This is for the drop down, this is for the rate spinner, this is for the pitch spinner, and this is for the text area. These are for the 3 buttons. So let's start using the speech synthesis interface. First, I'm going to create a new speech synthesis utterance object. As I told you earlier, this object will contain all the features of our speech, such as the voice, the rate, the pitch, and the text. So, in our code, we should provide all the inputs we get from these elements to this object. Then, I'm creating an empty array to store all the voices. First, I'm gonna store all the voices in my device in this drop-down list. First, we need to get access to the speech synthesis interface. I will do it here by calling the window object, as I showed you earlier. I'm gonna call the speech synthesis property of the window object, and then to store the voices, I'm gonna first store all the voices into this array using the get voices method of this interface. To confirm all the voices are stored properly, I'm gonna log them in the console. Now let's refresh it, but you see here the array is still empty. That is because the voice list is loaded asynchronously to the page, so we will have to use an event to get all the voices into this array. So I'm gonna call @eventListener on our interface, and I'm gonna use the event voices changed. And when it is triggered, this should happen. Now if I refresh it, you will see we have 21 voices in our array. Now, the need of the application is not to get all these voices in this array, but into this dropdown. So I'm gonna get rid of this log, and I'm gonna create another constant to map all the voices in the voices list to as the options of the drop down list. So I'm gonna map all the voices in the voices array as options of our drop down. So if I go through this array, you will see each of these voices have some unique parameters, some unique values like name, language, local service. So I'm gonna use this name as the identity of each voice. I'm gonna set the value of the voice the name of the voice, and as the displayed name I'm gonna put the name and the language. I think better to put them within parentheses. Now I have created an options list, and I will now add them into the drop down. So we have the voice drop down, and I'm gonna set the image table of our drop down those voice options. As a good practice, first I'm gonna make it null. Now let's refresh it. So we have all the voices available in my device in this drop down now. So we can select any of them. For a clear code, I'm gonna add a function populate drop down and put all the code there, and here I'm gonna just call it from here. If I refresh it, we still have the drop down. Now I need to add the selected option of the drop down as the voice of our speech. So I am assigning the voice of our message object the selected voice from our drop down. To check whether this works correctly, I am assigning some random values for the other attributes of our message object. Then I'm calling the speak method of our speech synthesis object and pass in our message object into it. It is a good practice to clear out the utterance queue before we start speaking. So I will call the cancel method of our object here to clear all the utterances from the utterance queue. Now when I refresh the page, the speech synthesis interface should speak our utterance, which is the hello world text. But here, instead of speaking our text, it gave us a warning message. That is because the speech synthesis speak method is no longer allowed without user activation in Google Chrome web browser since 2018. But this method works in other browsers such as Firefox and Opera. This is the same application opened in a Firefox browser. When I refresh the page,
Hello world.
It speaks the text given. To make it work in the Google Chrome, we can use a custom call from a button. So I'm gonna add an event listener to our start button here. When the click event is triggered on this start button, it will trigger this speak utterance function. I'm creating the speak utterance function here. And put all our code into this. And now when I click the speak button,
Hello world.
we can hear our text is spoken by the speech synthesis object. But you will see if I change the language and start speaking again,
Hello world.
the voice is not changed.
Hello world.
The voice is same. The reason is, although we change the voice from here, the value of the dropdown is not changed because we didn't add an event listener to our dropdown. So let's go and add an event listener to our dropdown. On change, it should create the set voice function. Here I'm gonna create a set voice function and put a line of code there. So when the value of the dropdown is changed, it should get that new value as the voice of our message. If I refresh and speak,
Hello world.
now I'm changing the language and again speak.
Hello world.
You can hear the voice of our utterance is changed. Now, instead of having this hard-coded values, I'm gonna get the values from our HTML elements. So the text, we will get the text from our text area, and we will get the rate from our rate spinner. We will get the pitch from our speech spinner. Now let's go and refresh, and then I'm gonna put some text here. Hope this will work, and I'm gonna click speak.
Hope this will work.
Yeah, so it speaks this text with this rate and this pitch. If I increase the rate and again speak,
Hope this will work.
the speed of the speech is increased here. If I increase the pitch as well,
Hope this will work.
yeah, you see.
Hope this will work.
So now we can change the voice, rate, pitch and the text from our interface and
Hope this will work.
speak whatever we need. Now let me show you something. First I will add some more text here. I'm adding some more text because I need to show you something. Now I will press this speak button so it will start speaking, and in the middle of the speech I'm gonna change the language. I'm gonna change this voice. Let's see what will happen.
Hope this will work. I am adding more text because I need to show you something.
Well, although you saw nothing happened. Although I changed the voice here, the voice of the speech did not change. Now I need this app to stop speaking when the language is changed and to restart the speech with the new language. For that, I'm gonna simply call this speak utterance method in our setVoice function. So whenever the voice drop down is changed, whenever the change event is triggered on our voice drop down, it will call this setVoice. So here it will get the new option as the voice of our message object, and then it will start speaking again with the new voice and with all these new values. So let's copy this first and then we will refresh it. Now I'm gonna do the same thing.
Hope this will work. I am adding. Hope this will work. I am adding.
Hope this will work.
Hope this will work. I am adding more text.
Hope this will work. I am adding more text because I need to show you something.
So you saw, whenever I change the voice, the speech is stopped and restarted with the new voice. There are two buttons left here. We will go and quickly add the event listeners for them as well. First, I will add an event listener for stop button. On click, it will call the stop speaking function. I will create a stop speaking function here and simply call in the cancel method of our speech synthesis object. Now let's refresh and put the same text here.
Hope this will work. I am adding.
When I click the stop button, it stops speaking. Now let's add an event listener for our pause button. On click, it should call the pause resume speaking function. When this button is clicked, I need to pause or resume the speech. If the object is speaking something, I need to pause it. If the object is in the paused status, then I want to resume the speech. So I'm going to use the speaking and paused properties of our object. So I'm going to call synth. If it is speaking, then it should pause the speech. and if our synth object is in the post status, then it should resume speaking. Let's go and refresh. Speak.
Hope this will work.
When I clicked this button, it was paused. So when I click this button again, it should resume speaking. But you see, when I click on it, nothing happens. That is the issue we have in the speech synthesis interface with the Google Chrome. If I go into my Firefox browser and put the text here and start speaking,
Hope this will work.
when I click the pause button, it was paused.
I am adding more text because I need.
And then I put the resume button. When I click the resume, it was again resumed. So simply it works in browsers such as Firefox and Opera, but there is an issue with the Google Chrome. With that, now we have complete our text-to-speech. Now we have a complete text-to-speech converter. Now I'm going to wrap up the session. Hope you learned something about the speech synthesis interface from this video. Have a good day.